Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer, which is proud to announce its candidacy for the presidency in 2016. My name is Cody, and do you like rolling dice? Of course you do. Who doesn't? You'd have to be crazy not to. Well, I want to tell you all about a new dice building game that's a little bit different than what you might think of when I use that term. I'm talking, of course, about Rattlebones from Rio Grande Games. In Rattlebones from Rio Grande Games, essentially you are at a weird, wild, funky, and a little creepy circus. And at this circus, you're going to go ahead and be physically building dice as you move around the board. Let me explain. When the game begins, every player gets 3 monkey pawn tokens and a little mouse token. You put the mouse token on a score track that goes around the board. You also put at the very end of that score track Mr. Rattlebones himself, this weird, thin, top-hatted figure. I guess he runs the circus. I don't know. Now, each player is also going to receive 3 dice, a black, white, and gray dice. Now, these dice are pretty big, and they're plastic, and they each feature removable sides. You've got 2 through 6 regular pip kind of dice, but one side features the Rattlebones token, the Rattlebones icon. Now, on your turn, you roll one of your dice, and you have a choice. You can move one of your monkey pawns forward that number of spaces, or you can move the Rattlebones figure down the score track that number of spaces. Now, if you ever roll the Rattlebones icon, you automatically have to move the Rattlebones figure down 1, and you can move one of your monkey pawns forward 1. Now, the different spaces in this game are very important. Now, most of them are printed on the track, but what you're also going to do is you're going to have these kind of tile cards that you mix up and that you randomly place on the different parts of the track when you set up. So there's always going to be some variation on how the board is set up. Now, when you move one of your monkeys onto that spot, the dice that you rolled to get there, you can then make a choice. And that choice is you can see what icon is there. You can dig out with a little tool the dice side of your choice, except the Rattlebones side, and you can place that new icon on there. So essentially, as you're going around, you are replacing sides of your various die with these new icons you find around the board. So these icons you find around the board are very interesting things. Some of them are just points. There's different point values. You roll that, you can move your mouse token up the point track. There is gold tokens. You can actually get gold that you can then spend to take more turns and roll more dice later. You may get a star side, and star sides, when you roll them, give you actual star tokens, and then when you land on the first space, once again, you can spend the star tokens to get a certain amount of points, and you get more the more star tokens you have. You may land on the train space, and there's a little train in the center of the track that is constantly moving to different point values. If you roll that, you get the point value of wherever the train has landed. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4 token, which essentially means anytime you roll that, you can move 1, 2, 3, or 4 spaces, whatever you choose with any of your guys. You could roll a 9 pip side, essentially replacing one of your sides with 9, so you can move up to 9. You may get the gamble icon, which allows you to roll another dice, which potentially allows you to get a lot of points or maybe none. You may get the thief icon, which allows you to steal gold and stars from other players. If you get a roll again icon, that means you can roll the dice you rolled and a second dice. If you roll that and another roll again icon comes up, you can roll all 3 dice and use all 3 of the sides that came up. Now, as your mice are moving up the point track, Rattlebones is moving down the point track. And as soon as a player intersects Rattlebones, the game immediately ends, and that player wins the game. So what do I think of Rattlebones? Well, Rattlebones, of course, you really need to address this new and unique mechanic. Literally building dice, changing the sides of dice throughout the game so that you can essentially maximize your point earning potential. And that's really what you're doing in the game, is building point engines with your dice. It's very interesting. It is very, very interesting because it allows you to choose, how do I think I can maximize my points? And that's really, really all the game is about, is trying to make the choices that will best maximize your chances for points. It is a basic roll and move mechanic, which is a little odd, a little, dare I say, dated. But it is still interesting because where you land gives you that choice that you can take or say, no, I'll pass on that one, and allows you to build that better point engine. Now, the game really doesn't have much in the way of theme. I mean, it's got the carnival artwork and whatnot, but I mean, there's not really a backstory or anything that explains it. One of the things you can land on, I didn't mention it, was stock, and it's like, well, you can buy stock in the carnival, and yeah, I remember all those booths at carnivals with places where you could buy stock in the carnival. So stuff like that. You know, you get gold, or you get stars, you get kind of these abstract things. The game really kind of feels a little abstract, and it feels really, really light. The dice thing is cool, the dice mechanic is cool, but the game itself is okay. It's not a great fun game that you just want to break out and play again and again and again. It's fun, it's interesting, but it's not amazing. One of the people that I play with regularly, Darren, he said he really liked the dice building mechanic, which we all did, but he wanted a stronger theme. He wanted a better game. And he said, wouldn't it be cool if you had a game that was, like wizards or magicians, and you could choose the spells you were going to do by rolling the dice. You could put the different spells on the dice. And stuff like that sounded really cool. As it is, Rattlebones is, as I say, not a bad game, not a great game. One of its great virtues is its length. This is a fairly short game, plays in 20 to 30 minutes. It does not take long at all. If you just want to break out a game, play something really fast, you can do that. Though, of course, there's going to be some setup and problems getting everything ready. And when you try to dig those dice sides out, sometimes they go flying. That's an issue, too. Not a prohibitive one, I think. Little kids, you probably don't want to keep this around that because stuff's going to get lost. But I think maybe, still some younger players may really, really enjoy it, or people that just like a more casual game experience. This might be a good game for people who are not really gamers, because it does feel almost like kind of an older game with the roll and move mechanics, so it might be a good transition game for some people. But speaking for myself, it just didn't wow me, it didn't bowl me over. I think some people out there will like it. I didn't hate this game by any means, and I really like that mechanic. So the discriminating gamer is going to say, try it before you buy it. You may like it, but again, experienced gamers may probably not warm up to it. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment here on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. We are The Discriminating Gamer. And Rattlebones is probably the creepiest guy at this circus, which is good, because usually when I go to a circus, I'm usually the creepiest guy there.
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
The discriminating gamer.
Okay, let's